Hi guys, today we're going to work on lesson 2 of our time chapter. Today we're working with time to the half hour. So last lesson we worked on just time even on the hour, and now we're going to work on that half hour. Okay, so you're going to open to page 599, and work along with me. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to show 5:30 on our clock. So with our pencils, now what to remember about this, which I'm sure we will talk about going on the next page as well, is when it's 5:30 or 4:30 or any time on the half hour, your hour hand, remember because both hands move on an analog clock, your hour hand is going to be halfway between the two numbers, okay, because it's halfway to that next hour. So when we draw 5:30, it's not going to point right to that 5, it's going to point in between the 5 and the 6 because 5:30 is in between 5 and 6. So when we draw our hour hand, we're still going sort of towards the 5, not quite to the 6 because it's not 6 o'clock, it's 5:30, but it's not going to point directly at that 5, okay? So it's going to be right about pointing to the middle. Do the best you can there. Remember, the hour hand is the shorter hand. Hour is a shorter word. Hour hand is the shorter hand. And then our minute hand, which when we're at 5 o'clock, points to the 12, but it has traveled. Imagine my hand is traveling 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 30 is that halfway. And our numbers are going to be kind of, or our hands are going to be kind of close. That's how it is with 5:30. So you point your minute hand to the 6. So anytime it's an hour, like 5 or 6 or 7, we know that it points to the 12. And anytime it's a half hour, so 5:30, 6:30, 12:30, that minute hand is always going to point to that 6 because that's at 30 minutes, okay? Now, it has this blank down here that says half past blank. When we went over our vocabulary, remember we said anytime there's a half hour, you can also say that time as half past whatever the hour is currently, okay? So this would be half past 5, okay? Because it's 30 minutes or half of the hour past that 5 o'clock, okay? If it was 3:30, it would be half past 3. If it was 12:30, it would be half past 12, and so on. So it's just another way to say 5:30. Now, if I were going to write it on a digital clock, I'd have my hour, I'd have the 2 dots, and then I'd have that 30 for that 30 minutes of 5:30. So that's what that would look like there. So this is what it looks like on this analog clock, and that's what it would look like on the digital, and you could also say half past 5. All right, let's go ahead and turn our page. So you can show time to the half hour. 1 half hour is 30 minutes. These clocks show half past 2. Okay, it says helpful hint, the hour hand moves halfway to the next number as a half hour passes. So it's exactly like I said with that 5:30. You can see that this little minute hand, or excuse me, the hour hand here is in between the 2 and the 3 because it's halfway between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Okay, so it's showing both of these ways to show 2:30 or half past 2. Okay, so you see that minute hand is pointing to that 6. It says here the hour hand points between 2 and 3, like we talked about. Minute hand points to 6. And then on the digital clock, same thing as the 5:30, except 2:30. Okay? So use the clocks to tell what time is shown and then write the time. Okay? Super simple. So the biggest trick, the hardest thing about this, which is not too tricky, is if it is that halfway and you know that that minute hand is pointing to that 6, so you know it's going to be 30 minutes, all you have to figure out is you have to look at the hour hand, excuse me, and just see which two numbers it's in between, and it's going to be the one that it passed last, not the one it hasn't hit yet. Okay, so for example, I'd look at this clock, I would look at the hour hand first, because you want to read the hour hand first, and I would see that it's past the 9, but it hasn't hit the 10 yet, so I know it's 9 something, I know it's 9 o'clock something, 9 something. All right, and then I would look at my minute hand next. If it was pointing to the 12, or well, it wouldn't be in between if that was true, but it's pointing to the 6, so I know that that's 30. So it's 9:30. Okay, so that was my 9:30 on our digital clock. And remember, you can also say half past whatever that hour is because it's not quite to that 10 yet, so it'd be half past 9. Okay, let's just do 2 more together really quickly. All right, next one, same thing. Look at my hour hand first. I see that it's in between the 1 and the 2, so I know that it's 1 o'clock, 1 something, and because it's not quite to that 2. And then I go to see my minute hand. I see that it's on the 6th, so I know that it's 1:30. Which is also known as 1:30. Okay. All right, last one. Same thing. I'm going to look at that hour hand first. It's in between the 6 and the 7, so I know it's 6 something because it has not hit that 7 yet. So we're writing a 6. Okay. And then I look at my minute hand and I come around and I see that it's on that 6, so I know that it is 30. If you were unsure, actually, if you couldn't remember that 1/2 was 30, you could just count by 5s. You could skip count by 5s along the numbers, starting at that 12. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, and that's something we'll talk into a little more detail as we go continue on our time chapter and talk about other times that aren't an hour and a half an hour. But just if you were ever not sure going forward, that's a strategy that you could use. So we have 6:30, which is 1/2 6 because it's not quite to that 7 yet, and it's on that 6. Okay. And it says down here, it is 8:30. Explain what 8:30 means. Essentially, it means that half of the hour has passed. Okay, so you know that an hour is 60 minutes. 30 minutes is half of that hour. So you know that we've already done 30 minutes of the hour. So that's what it means when it says 8:30. That's what that means.